Hello, everyone. Um, Today is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025 at 9:05 a.m. in the morning. Well, I just let's see. I think I went to bed at 12:45 in the morning, and then I woke up at the final wake up. Um, well, I set the alarm for 8:15. You know, and I went down to breakfast, and um, I just, I just had well, I know Fruit Loops ain't healthy, but I had, some Fruit Loops and um, eggs and sausage and a little bit of peanut butter and some apple juice. Well, with the Fruit Loops, I had some milk with it, but I didn't have grits or oatmeal or pancakes or the danishes or nothing. Just simply the cereal, eggs, and sausage and stuff, you know. So, um, but yeah, last night I took a shower, you know, thanks to y'all who helped me out with enough funds for deposit. And I was given some funds for laundry too. So, as I said, this hotel does not have laundry facility. So the funds that was given to me for laundry, I'm gonna set it aside, and I'm gonna set it aside um for when I do get, excuse me, I'm a like I can set it aside for them when I do get enough funds to get laundry done. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to say that. That's my sleep deprivation. I was trying to say that I'm gonna set the laundry funds aside for when I do get to a type of hotel that where you can get to do your laundry, you know. And that's what I was trying to say. I mean, when I can get to a hotel that has laundry facilities, because as I said, whenever I go to the public laundromat, I have to deal with people gang stalking me so heavy, and if they perk really heavy, and be doing stuff like invading my personal space, and you know and then crowding my space, and then me being harassed and bullied and like heavily followed around by the laundromat attendant, or them trying to cheat me out my money or just do whatever, um like especially the past few public laundry experiences that I've had, with some of these foreign people, whether they be Indian from India or Asian or Hispanic or whatever. Mainly the Vietnamese, not the Americanized Vietnamese, but I'm talking about the Vietnamese that that barely know much English. If I go to any of their laundromats, they you know they will you know follow me around and be heavy on my toes. I mean heavy on my heels. They be like physically following me around, like they're physically almost all up on my heels, following me around and trying to control and micromanage how I wash my clothes and stuff. Like I just want to be left alone, you know. So, and then they have the gang stalkers and I'm sorry, invading my personal space, and me having like OCD and everything. You know, So that's why I try to wait till I get to a hotel where I could do laundry, But there's another hotel, it's elsewhere, I'm not gonna say where it was, that I couldn't go to the other hotel last night where it's a $25 deposit. I couldn't go there last night because by the time I got the donation funds, it was time for the buses had already stopped running. So I couldn't go over there. So that's why I came over here, and it was walking distance, So that's why I came over here. But we'll see if I can get my laundry done at the hotels or whatever. Sometimes I might have a couple of problems, but a lot of the time, I could have my peace and quiet, but occasionally there might be times when perps at the hotel would try to tamper with or mess with my laundry and stuff, but not all the time. But yeah. But or they might have certain hotel employees, not all the time, but sometimes, if they might get an attitude with me and lie and say that they don't have quarters available. And other hotels, they'll be more than glad to exchange money for quarters for laundry, But yeah. So I mean, and it's like, if I've been on the streets for 10 days, for example, and I finally get the Social Security check or something, and then I go check into a hotel, and then they frown upon me, if they think I smell bad, but then, I'm trying to ask for funds to exchange, $10 or $20 in exchange for quarters, and they act like they don't want to exchange it, and try to play sight games and lie and say that they don't have, quarters. And out of desperation, sometimes I have to be forced to do things the hard way and hand wash my clothes. And then with it being colder like this, there'd be some times when I can hand wash my clothes at night and then wake up the next morning and my clothes are still damp. And it would affect me if the weather's, so cold. And now that it's cold, excuse me. Now that it's cold, like with sweatpants, sweatshirt, jacket, coat, that's stuff I cannot hand wash. So I would have to, either spray it down and sanitize with the rubbing alcohol until I can get the opportunity to get to machine wash my clothes, But over the summer, all I could do is take a bra and dress and underwear, and not even necessarily socks, and just wash them by hand. And then if I do go to sleep and then wake up the next day and they're still a little wet, it's no big deal, because the heat from being outside or whatever the next day could dry out, my stuff, and I'll be fine. But if it being colder, I can't do that. I would be, when you're wet and it's cold, you end up suffering. But if if it's hot and wet, you'll end up drying off. So a lot of people say that when you're homeless, make sure you keep your feet and socks dry. And try, but if it's raining and kind of flooding and it's cold or whatever, and there's the big puddle, and you can't avoid it, and you got you're forced with no choice but to step into the water in order to make your way to walk to where you need to go, you know, or forced to have to walk in muddy water, you know. Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah. So, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm really tired, and so tired that I wish I could take a nap. But it's wait, yeah. So I have like maybe 2 hours and 45 minutes to be here, and I wish I could take a nap. I wish I could live stream, but you know, the perps do stuff like y'all know how the perps mess with the live stream on purpose, and then they trigger me to have a Tourette's episode, and I'm panicking and freaking out. You know, it's like they trigger my Tourette's on I mean, you know, for me to live stream, and then they mess with the live stream unprovoked and harassed for no reason, and then they trigger my Tourette's and then call up the hotel and then lie and say that I'm disturbing people. You know, and then they call up pretending to be hotel guests next door and stuff like that. You know, and play all kinds of games when they pretending to be like, they call up the hotel and pretending to be a hotel guest right next door to me, and then you know, they'll pretend to be a hotel guest right next door to me, and then, you know, when they're actually in a state like St. Paul, Minnesota, or they might be in you know, they might be in, you know, Trenton, New Jersey, or you know, they might be in Denver, Colorado, and lie and say that they're here in New Orleans right next to me. Like lie and say that they're, you know, they would prank call and the hotel and be like, Candy Grandpre is one of your guests, and she's screaming, and you know, I'm right next door to her and stuff like that. And it's like, now I've realized that the stalkers not only know what hotels that I'm at, but they know the exact room that I'm in. And they do this to a lot of us targets. It's not just me. Like yesterday evening, someone was commenting on one of my videos and trying to seem like she was trying to blame me for the reason why I got illegally swatted the night before. And the stalkers, I'm telling her, the stalkers already know my location. And she's like, oh yeah, but don't tell them where you're at. Don't tell them where you're at, because that's why what happened last night because you told them where you're at. I'm like, no, you don't even know my situation. I almost was tempted to get frustrated, almost blocked her. You know, so it seemed like she was trying to victim blame. The stalkers came flooding the chat and saying, oh, she's in New Orleans, Louisiana, and this and that. Excuse me. They came flooding the chat with fake new accounts and saying, oh, she's in New Orleans, you know, because like they have people for the past, not last night, but the night before and the night before, they kept saying, where are you located, I need to know so I can help. When they're probably not trying to help, but they might probably send someone to physically come in person and do me some harm. But the online stalkers, they know where I'm at illegally. Nobody gave them the authority to commit these crimes against us. I mean, I don't. I mean, for them. I mean, so if y'all think that I deserve to be monitored and watched because you think that I act infantile for my age, what's your reason for stalking and harassing other adult targeted individuals and fake monitoring and fake babysitting? You know, when you're the criminals, y'all the ones that need the behavior correction, not me, or not any of us real targets. You know, that you just deliberately cause disruption, stalk, follow, and harass, spread lies, and cause disruption in innocent people's lives. You know, so yeah, it's like you cause disruption in an innocent person's life unprovoked for no reason at all, for nothing. You know, the stalkers already know where I'm at, and like as I said, April 17th of this year, I know I don't remember if I know I live streamed the night before, and I don't remember if it overlapped until after midnight of the morning of the 17th. But that's the day I got my tooth got pulled out, I think, right? And like it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. It had been hours since I had got off the live stream, and hours had gone by. And right before or right when I was trying to pack up and leave the bench area, right when I was trying to pack up and leave the bench area, fake Damnesia illegally prank called the NOPD and lied and said that I was a dead body in the river. And well, I mean, it's been months. It's been a while since they stopped with the threats to throw me in the river and stuff. You know, they stopped doing that. You know, but I guess because I mentioned it, they probably gonna start back up again. But unprovoked for no reason at all. They prank called the cops and lied and said that I was a dead body in the river, and the NOPD people, I have it on video too, regular video. I have it on video of one of the officers. It was a black female officer. I think she had eyeglasses, and she said, somebody called saying that there was a body in the river. And they're looking all over, and I'm trying to approach them. I mean, well, not exactly walk up to them, but I'm trying to get their attention and try to talk to them, and they were ignoring me, and they didn't want to have anything to say to me. But I was trying to alert and inform them that, the stalkers, prank calling and lying, And one time, I don't remember if I live streamed earlier that day. I was in a hotel back in September of this year. And it was after the first fake harassing piece of mail that was sent to me. Like, they had they sent the mail fake gift cards in the mail. And it was like a day or so after I had did a video on that. And I think I was in a hotel. I was sleeping. I was taking a nap. And sleeping, and the fake Angie Peterson prank called NOPD and lied. Prank called the NOPD and pretended to be me, and then lied and said that I called they lied the police thought it was me that called, and she pretended to be me and prank called NOPD and lied and said that I was having She made it like as if she was pretending to be me and calling it and lying and saying that I was having a suicidal episode. So like no matter what, they stalk, follow, and harass, and they do not back off. They do not leave you alone. Whether you ignore them or expose them, they will still continue to do what they do. You cannot respond or not even know or be aware that they're trying to do XYZ to you, and they're continuing for months to do videos about you, spread lies, and do this and do that. And you may not even respond or know anything for about a good 6 months or so. So even if you do ignore them, they're still churning out fake lying videos and profiting from it and stealing from you, and then lying and saying that you're the scammer and the fraud and getting over on people. And so like they said that when the stalkers try to use my profile to do this and do that crooked, or when they try to steal my email or whatever, or that when they're trying to get into my email accounts, they try to get into my my financial accounts and stuff. They said that those are cyber crimes, and what they're doing is identity theft or attempts at identity theft. Can you imagine a white male, a white guy trying to steal a black woman, a black female's identity? To commit all manner of crimes, and then you stalk, follow, harass, and bully and lie and say that I'm the scammer and the fraud. And then, excuse me, in that live stream a couple of nights ago, the police try to make it like as if it's ongoing investigation, excuse me, about what the stalkers are doing. That's bullshit, because when the stalkers prank call and make lies on me, it's not an ongoing investigation, but I'm wrongfully taken to jail. And then for me to defend my innocence or question anything, you're resisting, or I get extra fake criminal charges talking about resisting arrest, and then forced to have to pay exorbitant fines that I don't deserve to have to pay. So, as I said, today's December 10th. It's the day that my biological cousin Blake, today's Blake's birthday, and then 11th is 3 more family members' birthday, and then the 12th is the anniversary of when Blake got shot and killed. Yeah, Blake would have been 41 if he was still alive. So it's been like, the day after tomorrow will be 9 years, since we lost Blake, and we lost Wyatt last year. I still can't get over it. But the 3 other family members is the biological grandma Ruby, Blake's mom, the biological aunt drunk lady Yvonne, and then the gay AIDS brother fake perp Mark. Tomorrow, December 11th, that fake, I'm talking about them, the fake criminal illegal satanic birthdays or whatever, excuse me. But it's like, even lately I've been feeling depressed and like trying to figure out like how, that I'm wrongfully permanently banned from the family forever. And my own family members towards me, they're never merciful or forgiving. But if I were to come into a large amount of money, they would magically pretend to be, like, if I were to come into millions, like if I were to come into $1 million or something like that, and the family find out, that's when they would pretend that I'm their best friend until they parasitically drain me out of every penny, and then next thing you know, I'm not welcome around them again. That's how they operate, trying to use and take advantage. But I wasn't talking about Blake's birthday being, criminally illegal satanic. I'm talking about Mark and Yvonne and them. But the biological grandma Ruby, I'm not talking about her. She been deceased since, like, I think they said she died in 1989 when I was 6 years old. Yeah, drunk lady Yvonne, that's Blake's mom, and that's the one who refused to let me at her house because my twin sister and Wyatt, well, when Wyatt was alive, I didn't realize, the family is spreading false rumors about me and lying and saying that I said that I was glad that Blake died and stuff like that, and I never said that. But that's from the same family members trying to sacrifice me, and proud of it. They made Wyatt's death and funeral to revolve around perping me and mocking and insulting me as a way to let me know that oh yeah, Candy, you're next. Or they were mad that they couldn't get me and they got Wyatt. And I was shocked and surprised because Wyatt was one of them. And Blake was one of them. They weren't outcasted from the family like I am, and now Sean, has gotten back in the family's good graces, and he's welcome around the family, but I'm not, But they're mad that truth got exposed about them being perps and satanic and part of the cult and stuff. And now they call me disgraceful. But you hated me before I spoke out and said anything. All this family I got here in New Orleans, and they hate me so much that they could care less if I suffer out in the cold. They hate me so much that they don't care what bad happens to me, and that they will be glad if something bad or something horrible happens to me. How do you sit there and watch your own relative be stalked, followed, harassed, and trafficked by a bunch of Satan worshipers, and you brag about how you stalk and watch all my videos, and y'all, send outsiders like fake friends of the family and in-laws, and to be fake flying monkeys, and people that's friend of the family. You even get them to go against me and treat me a certain way and stuff. I got all this family here in New Orleans, and they don't even have restraining orders against me, but not any formal or legal restraining orders against me, but I'm wrongfully forbidden and not welcome around them. And if they did allow me to come and stay by them, and they would end up perping really hard, or I would end up being forced to have to be subjected to abuse. Like if they would do extreme abuse, like controlling or stealing all of my little money that I get. They would be controlling or stealing my money, exploiting me, they would starve me and enslave me with chores and stuff. Take all my money and leave me with nothing and call me greedy for buying me something to eat with my own money, or be very controlling with what I eat and stuff. Like as if they don't want me to have anything. Or they were trying to control where I go. Even my own relatives try to control me like they think they own me, but yet they hate me. and then they tell me not to do something in front of my face, and then they do it 5 minutes later, or they try to tell me to do something, and then they're not doing it. Or if they try to control or restrict me taking a bath, or or laundry, or trying to stop. They try to stop or hinder whatever I try to accomplish. I mean, and the biological sister Ramona, I heard that she got either Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that. But on our birthday, I think the biological brother Sean was planted. He was planted there. He pretended to be fake nice just to, try to swindle me out of money and take advantage of me on my own birthday. Because any other time he would see me in public and cuss me from A to Z and make death threats at me. So, but yeah, Sean told me that he was allowed by the biological sister Ramona's house, and that he told me he was at her house. I mean, that he just came from her house or whatever, But so he was welcome and allowed there, and he refused to answer my question when I asked if she lived in at the same place or whatever, But yeah. But I mean, in 2018, when I first became homeless, that was before Ramona lost her, senses or her mind or whatever. That was before getting whatever Alzheimer's or whatever she got, or dementia or something. And they said, I mean, Ramona, I had just became homeless, and Ramona refused to let me, I didn't know at that time that, one of the gang stalking, at that time, in 2018, I did not know that to make you homeless was one of the goals, to make the target homeless is, one of the gang stalking goals, to destroy you, But Ramona refused to let me stay by her, but she would rather take all your money but won't let you stay by her, But then when I have a place to live, when I'm housed, she always would want me at her house. And it's like, well, why? I can't even spend nights at my own house or sleep at my own house because you want me at your house, and you're taking all the money, the little money I got, and go gamble it up. But then if I go buy me, groceries for something, for a couple of days to stretch to eat, and then I have to hear narcissistic lectures about wasting money, especially if I try to strive to eat healthier and buy me like some coconut oil or some arugula and make a salad. Oh, you're wasting your money on fancy, bougie, expensive, whatever, But then if I eat fried chicken, I deserve to die of heart attacks. Like the foster family was pretty much the same way. But how come it's not a waste for Ramona or somebody to take my money and go gamble it up with, or spend it on homosexual lovers and stuff? Or, if certain family members use it and take advantage of me and then go spend it on homosexual lovers and stuff. Not Ramona, I'm talking about other family members, But I mean, if I'm wrongfully kicked out and banned and canceled from the family, then why they mad at me for speaking about them? Fuck this family. This mentally slow, crazy biological family, should go fry in hell. They proved to me how they're proud to be satanic, and I don't want any part of them anymore. Even whore Rebecca is freaking hardcore satanic now. No wonder, even for Blake's funeral, um, about 9 years ago, almost 9 years ago, for Blake's funeral, I was wondering why certain family members were wearing blue wigs and stuff. I didn't realize they were wearing blue wigs because of the Masonic cult for Blake. And then for Wyatt, they were wearing Masonic fake red hair. So sometimes they could either wear blue or red. And I was wondering, why the hell you come to a funeral with blue hair? I didn't understand at the time. I had some knowledge of the occult and the Illuminati and the New World Order and all. But, I guess my family had been sold out and been part of the Masonic cult. And that's why I never was wanted around them. And then people were saying even the biological sister Belinda was a sacrifice. And she was the firstborn daughter. I don't know who sacrificed her. Some people said the biological nephew John sacrificed her himself. And that's why he's extra privileged after getting out of prison. And I don't even remember what he went to prison for, But I heard that the biological nephew John is a pedophile that touched underage kids, and the family don't hate him. He's a pedo for real, from what I heard. But the family don't ostracize him. They'll just act two-faced around him. But John will be one of the biggest family members to the biological nephew John. Belinda's son would be, use and take advantage of people and be extra privileged to get rewarded for crimes. And John was abusive and controlling, And John, it's like almost the entire family is like, narcissistic, abusive, sociopath, psychopath. Pete is a straight up psycho. People say that even Ramona and all them, that they're a bunch of sociopaths. But as I said, fuck this whole family. But I'm talking about the living family members, but the ones who passed away, if they were still alive, they would still be doing dirt too. But I've been mourning and grieving, and feeling just bad and feeling hurt, about them being gone, and still confused and have no closure about Wyatt. And like the family told us, they told me about Belinda, but how come when it comes to the biological mom Frances, the biological dad Arthur, and the biological brother Wyatt, when they passed away, nobody wanted to tell me the truth or the real reason how they died. And then excuse me, or they didn't want to give me a clear answer on how they died. And I'm the only family member who does not deserve the right to know. How is those fake shelter people in Milwaukee think they got the fake authority to not allow me the right to know how my own brother died? Because other family members put stuff in their head and lied to them about me. My twin sister and the other family members, they lied to the shelter in Milwaukee about me. And they lied to the funeral home people about me and had them to be tight-lipped and not tell me, And it's like, I didn't even know that I was banned from the family or not wanted, or that I didn't even know until I went to that Airbnb. I didn't know the whole family was mad at me and wanted to fight me. And had something up their sleeve. I thought my twin sister was basically the only one that was mad at me, and then people from the fake aggressive defiance TV cult was spreading a lot of false rumors and being messy or whatever. And then there's somebody on our birthday trying to lie to me and say that, like, it was at least one or two people that try to tell me that Wyatt's death was a hoax. You know. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just ranted on and vented on about, family craziness and stuff, and it's odd for me to be in my hometown where I'm familiar, in my own hometown, but me being around what's familiar and what I grew up around, but then it's odd that I'm familiar in my hometown but can't see family at all. And if I do, they end up doing or saying something hurtful or destructive, Even in 2017, it was a year after Blake's, after Blake's birthday, after he got shot and killed, and it's like, I think it was that Sunday, December 11th, 2017, I went to go see a family, and I got my aunt, well, Mark wasn't in town, but I got my aunt a birthday cake, and, if she do hateful stuff, like if I buy her a birthday cake or whatever, and then she brag about how she just threw it straight in the garbage. Yeah, threw it straight in the garbage. Like, hate me for nothing, or if I give certain family gifts and they throw it away, it's like, I can't kill nobody with kindness, even with regular gang stalkers. There's some of them are abusive, narcissistic, hard, and mean, and will not soften up. Like, they are vicious and will not calm down. They will not soften up at all. They are that uptight and hard. And there's, like, nothing I could do to, make them be nicer or soften up or nothing. If I could be generous and buy a family member's household, this was before I became homeless, if I, give them a bunch of groceries and then they just take and throw it in the garbage. But then they will hound me down and use and take advantage of my money and do stuff like go and gamble it all up, or want to take the money and spend it on video games. But then if I go and buy me a coat for the winter, oh, you're wasting your money because it ain't spent on them. They play games, psychological games. But I mean, I can't believe what, as I said, Blake, Rebecca, and Daryl Jr. used to love me when we were younger, and Blake went to jail for he went to jail because the NOPD thought he was an accessory to a crime, but he had a neighbor that he was hanging with that robbed a bank, and Blake said he was asleep in the car and didn't know about it. That he fell asleep in the car and didn't know about it. And then Blake was supposed to do 30 years in federal prison for being an accessory to a armed bank robbery or something like that. I don't know. But he was in jail for 8 months, and then he got out of jail, and and Blake got out of jail acting like a perp towards me. That was the first time he ever at least disrespected me to my face. The moment he got out of jail, and that was the day I got my car, my first actual car, excuse me, and Rebecca was an underage child, like still 14 years old, not even 15 yet. And she gave him a pep talk on how to take advantage of me and how to screw over me. And he took my car. He was disrespectful and not being nice to me. And he took my car and was gone for like 2 whole hours. I hadn't even driven my car for 2 hours. And he could have done who knows what in my car. You know. And by that time, Rebecca, I think that the Jefferson Parish sheriffs offered Rebecca and Raymond and them perp deals to, and they were underage, like 14. And I got wrongfully pulled over because Ramona was trying to sacrifice me that night, Friday, February 18, 2005. Ramona, Ramona she tried to sacrifice me that morning in a car accident, and she wasn't successful. And I made a left turn on Elysian Fields, and I accidentally crashed into a small, tiny little tree, and the left headlight was broken. And later on that night, they set me up to be pulled over by the police, family members and neighbors, their neighbors and stuff. And and I got a ticket, and they played good cop, bad cop, and that night Rebecca started to act like a perp, and was the first time she ever disrespected me or treated me mean after I got pulled over by the police and stuff. And after that police encounter and they tried to set me up and everything, that was when Rebecca started disrespecting me and treating me mean and abusive. And she had never a day in her life, rest of her life, been nice to me since then. Before that, Rebecca used to love me. But Monica, I don't think she ever liked or I don't think she ever liked or respected me, My own biological niece, like vicious towards me. But even like without me being targeted, it's like with the family, it's a bunch of just a lot of false family rumors. And some of even the false rumors swirling around the family be like sick false rumors. For even someone to create a false rumor in the family about one family member being incestuous with another family member, and then another type of rumor that end up with other family members being true, and it's like, certain people saying that me being completely away from the family, that is the smartest thing that I could ever do, But, I felt homesick. And, I can't even, like, Yvonne hates me so much that I can't even visit her for 2 minutes. And it's like a lot of family members said that Yvonne, even though she's brown skinned, but I heard if you're not the complexion of white people, she don't want you around. I don't know what the hell's wrong with her with that, If you're not one of those light-skinned pretty Creoles with the complexion of white people, she don't want you around. And that's why Ramona and them get better treatment, if Ramona and Yvonne could argue, cuss each other out, and fight and call names, and then 2 or 3 minutes later they back like as if it never happened. But when I came back in 2018 from the Grand Canyon job that I got workplace mobbed off of, and I came back from Los Angeles, Arizona, and Las Vegas and stuff, and I came back and they created a fake perp scenario to justify. Yvonne got drunk and she didn't want me even visiting her house that night, because she knew I was homeless, and she figured that I'm not worth shit or whatever, But other family members, they're allowed to spend the night, spend the weekend, and visit or whatever, Well, her husband Daryl had already passed away, but Daryl, when he was alive, he used to be like, "Come spend the weekend, come spend the weekend," He died less than a year and a half after Blake, and I didn't get to show. I mean, I did videos, but I didn't get to publicize the videos of me trying to find certain family members at the cemetery on September 17th of this year. And I got treated mean by people at the cemetery trying to, I didn't even realize that's how it is with the cemeteries, that, that the family is obligated, or it's their responsibility to keep up, So basically, it's such tall grass, I do remember where the biological mom Frances and the biological cousin Blake and them got buried, but it's like maybe Blake and Daryl, their resting place was, they had a bunch of grass that was so tall it was taller than me. I had never seen grass that tall before. Grass taller than me. So, I mean, as I say, I don't know if it would be in bad taste for me to publicize the videos of me being at the cemetery, But they buried the biological mom Frances off to a different spot with no tombstone, and they buried the biological dad Arthur next to the biological half sister Yolanda's mom, And I heard that Arthur's first wife, they say she was an albino woman, and that they were married for like 2 years and they never had any kids with each other, and he didn't really like her or whatever. And then he got with a lady named Joyce, and the biological sister Ramona tried to say that Joyce died from mental illness, and I don't know how could someone die from a mental illness, unless, I don't know if she was trying to cover up to say, oh, she committed suicide or something. I don't know. But and then the biological mom Frances with the third wife, and he was married the author was married to her for the longest, But Arthur and Frances, they I don't know if the biological dad Arthur's, the second wife Joyce Grandpre, I don't know if she passed away before he married the biological mom Frances, but I know that he got with her, he was 32 and she was like 14 or 15. I'm like, well, where's anyone to call him a pedophile? But people try to say, oh, back in those days it was normal and those girls were fast and this and that, whatever, But they didn't get married. I didn't know until after they passed away that they married on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1968. The biological mom, Frances, the biological dad, Arthur, they had got married. Eventually, got married. I didn't know that they got married December 24th, 1968. And if they've been married until 2013, they both passed away 2 months and 5 days apart. And I almost died November 17th, 2013, the same day the biological dad, Arthur, died. And I have to hear that mentally slow, crazy biological family lie and say Arthur's not your daddy because you're not light-skinned like him. All because Yvonne had 3 kids by Daryl and all of them came out light-skinned. But so they think that that's supposed to be the same scenario, that because we didn't come out light skinned, we get bullied and they lied to us and say, oh, you're not Arthur's child because you're not light skinned. And then they try to belittle and put me down and lie and say, oh, y'all daddy was a brown skinned, nappy headed man crippled up in a wheelchair with AIDS, with big bubble eyes. But they have people who have said that I resemble the biological dad, Arthur. And certain people said that I look just like him. And they even said, if they even would say that I resemble my Aunt Carolyn, or something like that, And the biological dad, Arthur, and some of his siblings and relatives, even his mom, resembled a lot of the fake foster family. It was just weird, Like the biological dad, Arthur's mom, Arthur himself reminded us of a man version of the foster grandma Mildred Collins, And our Aunt Carolyn kind of reminded me of the fake foster mom Adrian Felder. Well, she reminded me of Anne and her sister Dana, like a lot of the biological family, it seemed like they're reminiscent of the foster family, and certain people thought we were blood related to the foster family, But you never know. Certain people try to make it like as if the biological mom and the foster mom might be secretly related, and that might be why they're feuding or whatever, but I don't think they're related. Yeah. I did not mean for this video for me to be on a rant about family, but lately the family have been heavily on my mind, and I'm wrongfully forbidden and not allowed to go around them. They start false rumors about me, making up lies on me, and even though I'm being gang stalked and harassed, my so-called mental health problems, it's like a lot of people say to stay away from the biological family anyway because they're a bunch of witches and stuff. Witches and warlocks, and occultists, and, satanic sellouts and stuff. And a lot of people have been telling me stay away from New Orleans, but I have been homesick. I have been homesick so bad and missing it, And I've been here in New Orleans for over 2 years and feel afraid of being forced to have to leave New Orleans. And I'm here in New Orleans and feel homesick while I'm here. I'm feeling homesick while I'm here. And like some of y'all saw that I was wrongfully banned from Wyatt's funeral, and family threatened me, even in-laws who it's not their business, or non-relatives think they got the fake authority to ban me from my own brother's funeral. and it's not fair that my twin sister had she manipulated the family against me, and a whole bunch of lies were made about me. And the fake aggressive defiance TV perp and his own fake cult, they put offensive comments on my biological brother Wyatt's online obituary before I even found out that they had an obituary online obituary or whatever. And Mark wrongfully banned me from the funeral and threatened to call the police on me. I mean, I didn't even know that happened. I didn't even know that they were going to confront me about something that I didn't even know about. And because the fake aggressive defiance TV cult, illegally, put offensive videos and pictures and mocking Wyatt's death, because my twin sister had a feud with the fake aggressive defiance TV perp. And they were feuding with each other about my twin sister putting up she put a picture of the guy's cremated mom. She put the urn of his cremated mom as her profile picture on YouTube. And that after my twin sister and the fake aggressive defiance TV perp were feuding with each other, and they were pretending to be fake friendly towards me, and then they were being messy and fake and playing both sides, and they were trying to attack me, after I refused the fake interview with Eric, because he acted like he wanted to, the fake aggressive defiance TV perp, I think they say his name was Eric, and he was trying to do a fake interview so that he can get his laughs and mock and insult me. If you don't believe targeted individuals are real, but yet you're doing the stalking and harassment, if you don't believe it's real, it seemed like he just wanted to profit and exploit and try to get his laughs off of trying to mock and discredit. And because I refused the fake interview with him, that's when he started stalking and harassing me. And I don't know which one of them got me wrongfully banned from by the Riverwalk. So my twin sister put up a video. She put up a picture of the aggressive defiance TV perp's mom's, because his mom had recently passed away at that time, and it was around the time when she was getting drunk and beating on Tiara. She would get drunk and beat on Tiara and the girlfriend, and then even earlier, or in that February or March, it was like around the time I had the Piccadilly job, the last job that I had, and it was like a beginning of March, and somebody tried to show me a video of my twin sister getting drunk and beating Tiara up, and they'd be like, she cut herself with glass or something. I don't know. It was frightening. It was really scary. And like last year, like 3 or 4 days before Wyatt ended up dying, it was right before our birthday, and my twin sister was trying to get me to come up there to Georgia by her. And certain people were warning me, saying, "Candy, don't do it. She trying to sacrifice you." And then lo and behold, Wyatt turns up dead. Like, I'm mentally messed up in the head by that. And so, I don't have any closure about, nobody is going to say that the biological sister-in-law should have minded her business and butted out, and that she didn't have a right to break and throw my phone and make death threats at me and meddle in. The rest of the family let her handle up on me when she was an outsider and had nothing to do with it. And she talking about, I've been part of this family for 10 years. Well, motherfucker, I've been part of this family for 42. And genetically part of in this family. You fake married. My brother didn't have to marry you. And you weren't married to Wyatt, you were married to Derek. So you mind your fucking business. If Wyatt was your husband, that would have been a different story. But if I was married to any of your family members, and you know, the same situation would have happened, I would have been told to butt out and mind my business, or I would have had criminal charges if I would have broken through my sister-in-law's phone. Now, if I would have threw and broke Kateria's phone and made death threats at her and bullied her, I would have been sitting in jail for felony charges. But they sit there and let them slide, you know. And I took people they were suggesting, cause that morning I was hesitant and I was scared to go over to the Airbnb, and you know, people were saying, well, go pay your respects to your brother and this and that, whatever, you know. And I think somebody even donated me the funds and encouraged me to go take the Uber over there. You know, and I didn't know that the family was mad at me had different reasons, different fake reasons to be mad at me. And that's how I know that Ramona is different now, because Ramona would have had the loudest mouth, and she would have fought and said something. She would have put her hands on me. Ramona don't threaten; she just start fighting. So the fact that Ramona seemed kind of a little bit out of it, and she was talking kind of slow and really quiet, and she didn't say much or nothing. And she seemed kind of like, that's how I knew something was up. But if this was 10 years ago, Ramona would have beat me to death. She would have beat me to death, for real. You know. But then, when the biological mom, Frances, died, my twin sister was ostracized from the family. But then, this time around, it seemed like she got back in the family's good graces, and, you know, had encouraged the whole family to weaponize Wyatt's death and funeral to perp and mock me. You know, and so the fake aggressive Defiance TV perp was feuding with my twin sister. They were feuding with each other back and forth, and she, because he did and said certain offensive things to my family and about my family, you know. And my twin sister posted a picture of his mom's urn from when she got cremated. She was not biblically buried. Cremation is not biblical. They say cremation is of the occult. So, my twin sister had, posted up a picture of the fake aggressive Defiance TV perp's mom's urn, and then she posted a picture of his mom's urn, and then they were feuding with each other back and forth, and she would get on her drinking sprees and get drunk and, you know, get drunk and dangerous. And there was a point in time she acted like she wanted to get drunk and then try to do suicide by a cop or whatever, you know. And then she blood sacrificed the dog Pippa, and the fake aggressive Defiance TV cult, they gave her $2,000 for that dog. And then I heard that she ended up getting $26,000 for Wyatt, when I got much or nothing. And they were creating a bunch of false rumors about me, you know. And the stalkers were being stupid and lying, saying, well, Candy blood sacrificed her brother Wyatt for a hotel room and stuff like that, you know, which was not true. And I think they were supposed to have some bad rain or something that was supposed to have happened that Saturday night. But yeah, I'm messed up in the head. And then I think it was the fake Nevermind pretended to be another person. It was somebody that it was the day of the funeral. I think somebody said that Derek and my twin sister had another fake alternative YouTube channel that my twin sister hid from me, and that Derek flashed devil horns hand signs and was bragging about sacrificing me, Wyatt, and Sean, and trying to get us all in threes. And so there are people, my twin sister, like October of this year, my twin sister, like October 22nd, she tried to reach out to me and said we need to talk, and sent a cheap ass $10. Yeah, the reason why I said it that way, because of, you see me suffering, and she get that being cheap from the foster mom, but if $5 or $10 is all somebody got, then I really appreciate it. But it's her motive behind this. That's why, why I said what I said. I've seen my twin sister tell everybody don't donate to Candy's GoFundMe, but she generously sent $100 to a stranger's GoFundMe. But then be cheap towards her own family, her own twin, while sitting there making me suffer out there. And a lot of the stalking and harassment that y'all see in the comments in my YouTube videos, it comes from my twin sister and her cult. As I said, it's her motive of being cheap on purpose. But on purpose, just so she could justify being like, oh look, she's ungrateful, but she did that on purpose, being manipulative. And whether no matter what amount of money she would give, whether it's cheap or expensive or whatever, it's like she always got strings attached, or a sinister motive, manipulation. And that's why I said what I said. Like when Blake got shot and killed, and it's like I saw that my twin sister gave $20 to the GoFundMe, but I was poor and didn't have anything to give, but I gave Yvonne $20 in person, and that was all I had. But my twin sister, she got thousands and thousands. She the one that get thousands and thousands per month, and she could beg for donations. Like the stalker said, because, oh, your twin sister deserves it. You don't. If my twin sister is housed, and for my twin sister to be in front of my face, lie to people, say Candy's a scammer and a fraud, don't donate to her, while she can put up CashApp, PayPal, Zelle, and whatever else, and she reached out to me and sent me $10 and said we need to talk. And I'm like, nope. It's October. You're trying to sacrifice me. I mean, whether I come to Georgia by my twin sister, and she try to sacrifice me, it seems like she tried to love bomb and butter me up. And just like what Patricia Jerome was trying to do, trying to love bomb and butter me up. And what they say when they try to love bomb and butter you up, that they say that they try to groom you. That is called grooming. So for them to try to love bomb and butter you up, and I have never in my entire life set anyone up for something bad to happen. Never. I don't even think about how to set people up. I don't even link with anybody to know how to set anybody up. So this October, now August, my twin sister ain't had nothing to say to me, but for October of this year, she sent me like $10 or whatever to the what was that, the Cash App, and said we need to talk. And while her cult following Flying Monkey is still harassing me with the same false rumors, the same slander campaigns or whatever. And then people say that the reason why my twin sister has to be against me, because they said if my twin sister would support me, then she would be breaking the oath that she sold her soul for. They said that she would be breaking the oath, and that she would have horrific consequences that she's afraid of. So they said that that's the reason why she has to. They said that, but with the cult and everything, that she has, the cult requires, the cult requirements require the family, for her and the rest of the family, to treat me mean and be abusive and unhelpful, and that that they signed that NDA with the gang stalking cult. But they laughed at us for being part of the fake IDMR cult for years. But you got another cult going on, gang stalking. But certain people say that Wyatt broke the oath, and that he knew too much, and that certain people say that Wyatt was planning to get close to me and tell me the truth. And that's why he got killed. But he went against me before he died. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out all this myself. But I thought Wyatt and Derek were close. So for someone, I didn't see it for myself, but someone said that, oh yeah, don't come to the family funeral because the family planning to lock you up in a mental institution if you go. Or they said, oh, the family is, your family said that they're trying to put hexes on you, and that they're trying to do some witchcraft and do some rituals on you, and stuff like that. Or they said the family did this and the family did that. And they had this lady from the fake Hell's Way church named Melinda. That's the one who did a witchcraft spell to make me I felt like I thought I lost my legs for a second. She did a witchcraft spell to make me faint and pass out when I was at the fake Hell's Way church. I forgot what she did or said, but I blacked out and passed out. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this witchcraft? So she said my family built a blood oath covenant for me to be blood sacrificed. And so then she said that the singer Aaliyah, that Aaliyah's family, including her brother Rashad, she said that they built a blood oath covenant for her to be sacrificed. And people see pictures of Aaliyah's brother Rashad and think that that's one of my brothers. And I'm like, well, I always thought Rashad looked like Wyatt, but reminded me of Mark with being gay and weird and stuff. Mark is a different kind of weird, but yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, but I was still a die-hard fan of Aaliyah at that time, before I found out, if you're a fan of a celebrity, you're committing a sin of idolatry and you're going to hell. Okay, well, fine. I don't support no more the Hollywood industry. Excuse me. So, but yeah, other people like Lisa Ruby and a few other people, that Darius guy and a few other people were saying that my family is about a bunch of occultic voodoo witches that are trying to sacrifice me, or that they want me sacrificed. And Blake was outspoken about this voodoo and stuff. Blake, in 2002, No, I'm sorry, 2000. Yeah, 2002. I was at the biological mom Francis' house. 2001 or 2002, and Blake got mad at the biological mom Francis for something, and he got mad and tried to burn her picture. I thought burning the picture would be voodoo or witchcraft or whatever. But he said, man, I tried to burn her picture and the picture wouldn't burn, man. She do voodoo. You know. But I heard it's been rumored that Ramona, Mark, Derek, and my twin sister and a lot of family members practice voodoo or practice that witchcraft. I don't think Sean practices it though. But I think, Mark and Ramona and them, I wasn't sure, but Wyatt seemed like he was into some weird devil worship. And especially with being like with the video games and scary movies and stuff. Wyatt was attracted to like evil movies and stuff, And when I try to tell Wyatt about the true gospel and coming to Jesus Christ, even though I'm not perfect, but I try to share the gospel. Like a lot of the family rejected me, or some of them were hostile and not receptive to me trying to even share the gospel with my own family members, and they shunned, rejected, and attacked me, and trying to say that the Bible calls people like me hypocrites, or they try to say, oh, you think you're better, you think you're goody two shoes, this, that. And they try to Ramona used to try to do stuff like with a deceitful looking smile on her face, acting like she wanted to try to lure me back into sin or lure me back into old ways and stuff like that, Even though certain ways bad ways I have slipped back into and dealing with my situation or whatever. Like I've been having difficult time with trying to find time to worship God. And trying to, like when I'm at the library, I try to listen to like 4 chapters of the Bible or something, like between 2 and 4 chapters of the Bible, or try to find it's difficult to try to find a way to get some time. Like it's harder when I'm on the streets. Like I can't even go into the bathroom at the library and try to pray for a few minutes without somebody knocking on the door. So it's better, when I'm in a hotel or whatever, then I could pray, pray while I'm in a hotel room or something, But if they wanted to, the family try to do something like try to lure me back into secular music, or if I'm surrounded by restaurants and businesses when all they got is secular music, and I'm being driven up the wall with this fake Christmas stuff, But every now and then, on rare occasions, I've had my own moments where I slip back in without family influence, and relapse and go listen to a secular song, and then I feel guilty afterwards, Or if I listen to 50 secular songs in one day, But there was a point in time I was listening to a mixture of Christian and secular, and felt bad about it, and it's a stronghold. You find yourself addicted or whatever, but I've been trying to listen to my Christian songs, But even the past few days or the past couple of weeks, I was tempted to listen to something secular, but I felt like, I don't want to eat my conscience to, be eaten up, But it's if you try to turn to Jesus Christ, they have, even the gang stalkers try to act like they try to lure me into sinful and evil and the dark world, as if they want to try to think that they can make attempts at trying to lure me into trying to point me in a direction to the side of evil. And I just keep rejecting. I keep rejecting their fake emails. I keep rejecting and sending a screenshot for documentation and reject and send it to spam. I want no parts of lesbianism. Like in the middle of the night, they sent me a fake email subscription to lesbian website subscriptions. Using my email. Why does a guy want me to be a lesbian? So I block and screenshot and send it to spam folder. And it's like they want to try to coerce me into blood rituals and satanic sacrifice, voodoo, lesbianism, witchcraft, evil. I don't want that. They want me to be lured into prostitution, drugs, anything God hates. They want to try to sit there stalking and following and harassing and spreading lies about me because they want to try to initiate me into Satanism that I don't want. I hate Satan. I don't want the Satanism stuff. And I didn't know that secular music was satanic. I didn't know. I didn't know that anything that's not of God is Satan. I thought secular music was just people. I didn't know that it was influenced by the devil. I don't want to be dealing with prostitution, drugs, lesbianism, whatever occult rituals. I don't want to do that. But each time I reject them, they illegally swap me or get me wrongfully banned from more places. And they're sending people to hurt me. They're sending people in person to hurt me, And my twin sister's part of the fake red triangle cult. And it's like, wow, you're getting yourself into dangerous stuff on purpose just to make Candy mad, to make me mad. It's like, you don't care what you're doing. You don't care you're destroying your own soul trying to make me mad. That, you part of you're linked up with anything that goes against Candy. That they will link up with, And I hate that I'm forced in this predicament. Forced to be homeless. They're trying to sacrifice me. They're trying to falsely build a case. Well, they have already succeeded at building a case for me to be seen by society as a mental patient. And they're trying to, and I didn't know, I thought that you had to be young to be put under MK Ultra, but I heard that they could MK Ultra you at any age. And they could sex traffic you at any age. I didn't know you could put old people under MK Ultra, but I heard that if you're 60 or 70 and older, they try to get rid of you because you're not useful to the New World Order. That's why they want you younger, and they want people young and impressionable. And easier to manipulate and mind control. They want to steal your innocence. And I'm 42 years old, and people think that I have such spiritual purity and virgin-like innocence. That people say that I still seem like a virgin to them. And for them to tell me that I'm such a pure soul, people, think I'm a pure soul and they want to sacrifice me. And they think I'm so childlike and they want to treat me like a child, Excuse me. So yeah, I'm keep fighting and resisting. It seemed like the family wanted me under MK Ultra too. And my twin sister fantasizes about being my pimp. Just like the online cult They all falsely claim that they own me. Well, my twin sister never told me to my face that she said, or over the phone or any communication. She never said I own you or nothing, but she act like she thinks she own me. And other family members that they act like they think they own me, but they hate me, and bossy and controlling and stuff. Yeah, I got more to say, but my mind is not clear. I was supposed to have been just done a short video and then try to try to sleep some more, try to take a nap. But it's supposed to be another cold night or two, and I took a shower last night, and I got to put back on the same dirty clothes, you know. And so, like, I'm sorry for TMI, but me menstruating and stuff, the underwear got messed up, so I had to throw those away. And they got torn up too. The cheap pair of underwear from fake Walmart, I can only afford like the cheaper pairs, and it like come between 6 and 8 to a pack. And if I wear them once or twice, and then they tear up, and then I have to get another pair, you know, they tear up so easily. But I don't know if I might have 3 or 4 more pairs of underwear. I just got some new underwear like last with the YouTube part of the YouTube AdSense payment. I wish I could have found some bigger socks, or but my shoes are, and I wish my shoes were bigger, and my legs were super swollen and huge last night. But anyway, I'm gonna get off the video. I love y'all. I need as much help as I can get, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do about the freezing temperatures next week and the next couple of days and stuff. I need any and all the help I could get. But I love y'all. I'm getting off.